guys, good afternoon. Tiffany 100 Plus here with Mario. I just picked him up from Southeast Veterinary Neurology. A little bit later than usual because they did do all of the testing when I dropped him off this morning. And they were quite busy today. They had a lot of emergencies today. So, a little bit later than it has been, but still, it's only 5 o'clock, so it's not too bad. He did have his cytosar today. Thank goodness. Bad news is that I was unfortunately right about his eyesight. I was hoping I was wrong, but Dr. Sunil called me and told me that after she did do his exam, and the nurse told her what I said about him bumping into a couple of things, but it was when we would come in from outside, so it was dark, so I thought maybe it was just that, you know, or not thought, but was hoping that maybe it was just his eyes were adjusting from going from outside to inside where it's darker. But she did his exam, and she said when she checked the right eye, it does not respond the way it did 3 weeks ago when she checked him. So, unfortunately, my worst fear about pushing his treatments a week kind of came to fruition. He can still see, obviously, but because we pushed his treatment a week, he has had some deterioration in that eye. He can only see out of his right eye. His left eye is completely blind. The optic nerve is completely destroyed from his disease. So his right eye is his only eye that he can see out of, and unfortunately he did sustain some sort of injury or damage to that eye now because we pushed his treatment a week. That was a risk that we knew was a possibility, but we took it because with his white cell so low last time, there was even more risk bumping it down even lower by giving him the treatment last Friday. So much could have gone wrong. His white cell could have just tanked, and not only would he be seriously susceptible to any and everything, and he has to be walked in a neighborhood. I don't have a backyard, so he could have picked up anything at any point that would have probably ended up hospitalizing him because he would not have been able to fight it off. But he also could have tanked so low that he felt like complete garbage and could have vomited, which then could have caused him to aspirate, which then he would not have the strength to fight off the aspiration pneumonia and anything that could come along with that. So the risks were higher to do the treatment last Friday than they were to not. Even though we knew the risks of not giving it to him could cause some relapse signs. So unfortunately, that is what happened. He did lose some vision in his right eye. Not only that, when she was doing his exam, he has pain in his neck area, which he has never had. He has never had any kind of pain anywhere. And he didn't have it 3 weeks ago. I mean, a week ago. Sorry. I'm so used to saying 3 weeks. He did not have the pain a week ago when she examined him. So she also believes that that is due to inflammation, and that is due to the disease kind of having the chance to get going, because he didn't have his treatment. The treatment is the only thing keeping this disease at bay. It is the only thing causing him, or keeping him from relapsing and causing his entire body to just start shutting down. So that's the reason we keep doing it every 3 weeks, because that's been a steady spot where he has not had any relapses when we keep it there. He's been stable for years, and that's why we've kept it at every 3 weeks. This time was, unfortunately, we just couldn't help it. We had to weigh the options, and this was the lesser of two evils, according to his neurologist. And I have to trust his doctors. They are the ones that know what they know the science. They know what they're doing, and they have the experience. So, like I said, it wasn't an easy choice, because I knew something like this could happen. But even with this, and she did seem, when I talked to her, she was down. You could tell she was disappointed, but she did say, I still believe we made the right call. She's like, I still think that it was the right call, and that it could have been much worse for him if any of the other options came to fruition, and we gave him the treatment. So it's been a little bit of an upsetting day. It's been sad. Like I said, he's been so good for so long, and he only has vision in that one eye. So the thought of him going blind is heartbreaking for him. And then of course anything else that could come up from this nasty disease. But hopefully, we've got a plan. He's on gabapentin for his pain. Gabapentin is also an anti-inflammatory. So she started him on the gabapentin for the pain in his neck, but it's going to be doing double duty as pain reliever and as an anti-inflammatory. The whole thing with this autoimmune meningitis encephalitis, it's an inflammatory disease. It's an inflammatory disease of the brain. So that's what happens when it is allowed to go without the treatment that stops it in its place. That's what happens. The brain starts to inflame. So that's what killed his one optic nerve, because of all the inflammation. It basically crushed and destroyed his optic nerve in his left eye. That's why he has no vision. And she believes that's what's wrong with his neck right now, that it just kind of was all inflamed in his brain, and then kind of traveling down his spinal cord and into his neck area. So we are starting him on gabapentin for pain and inflammation, and we are also upping his prednisone dose. One, to see if we can just stop the progression in his tracks, and maybe, God willing, reverse it a little bit. And two, also the steroid helps with inflammation. So we're starting him on gabapentin. No more antibiotics. He doesn't need the antibiotics anymore. But we are starting him on gabapentin, and I am upping his prednisone dose, and I am also upping it to twice a day. Right now he gets it once a day, only at night. Starting tomorrow, he is going to go to twice a day. I don't know what exactly we're upping the dosage to. I didn't get the discharge instructions. She told me she would write everything out for me with the taper scheduled to drop him back down off the pred. But she, like I said, they had a very busy day. She's had emergencies and she's going into 2 different surgeries. So it probably won't be till much later this evening or even early tomorrow that I get the discharge instructions. But that's okay because he's just going to get his normal dose of pred tonight. And then hopefully I'll have the instructions by tonight and we'll start him on the double dose tomorrow. So the good news was that he got the treatment, that his blood work was okay, that his white cells rebounded, which is good, which means his bone marrow is working properly. They're not back way up, but they did regenerate to a point where she was comfortable giving him the cytosar today. So that's good. At least we know his body is working the way that it should, and that it wasn't that his body was shutting down and his bone marrow production was shutting down just because of the disease. It was obviously because he was fighting off an infection pretty vigorously and just depleted his whole white cell count. So at least we know that the worst didn't happen there, that his body was able to bounce back and regenerate, and his white cells bounced back up. The really, really sucky part is that there is some repercussions for him for putting off the treatment. But like I said, the doctor still believes that we made the right call, and I have to go with her on it. Like I said, I trust the doctors that touch our dogs wholeheartedly. We have been through insane battles and wars with our dogs, with some of these doctors. And they know what they're doing. So, hey baby. So, sorry. Just a little fried at the moment. So I hope everybody got that, understood it. I actually now don't even remember what I said because, again, my brain's just a little scrambled. But we are on our way home. I'm going to get him his dinner and his medications, get him settled for the night. Thank you to everybody that donated this morning. Or is donating now. I did put the donate button on the video as well as all of the links in the verbiage again. If you would like to donate for his treatment today and his ongoing treatment. You getting comfortable, buddy? You getting comfortable? Again, thank you guys so much for your continued love and support. Thank you for your prayers for him. If you can keep them coming, I would appreciate it. Just a little bit of a rough day. Okay, I'm gonna sign off before I start rambling. But again, thank you guys so very much. This is Tiffany and Mario, 100 Plus Abandoned Dogs, Everglades, Florida.